Hey, it's Candice Smiley. Yes, that's my real last name. No word of a lie. I've joked for most of my life that I'm never changing it. It's a pretty good last name. My grandpa would say that Smiley is the longest name in the English language, right? Smiley, smile with a Y. It's a mile between the first and the last letter. I digress. Trust me, I'm going to keep the dad jokes to a minimum, I promise. Trust the niggle, tell the truth. What's the podcast about? Podcast is about trusting your niggle. The niggle, I got the word from Rebecca Campbell, and she does Rise Sister Rise. And I wanted to do a big throw out. No, this isn't sponsored at all, but I've been deeply impacted by the work that this woman has done. And so I wanted to, I'll make sure I post in the show notes, or if you're watching on YouTube, the comments will be down below. You can check out Rise Sister Rise. She's got an incredible community, which has made such an impact. And that's where I originally got the idea for Trust the Niggle. The niggle is that annoying feeling that you've got when you know you should have said something, but you didn't. You should have done something, but you didn't. It's that thing that wakes you up in the morning or keeps you up at night. That thing. It's usually the first indication that you're off track, or maybe for the first time when it lifts up that you're on track. The niggle is often outside of our comfort zone, or responding to the niggle is usually outside of our comfort zone. So I want to talk about trusting the niggle. The niggle for me has been learning how not to be a people pleaser, speaking my truth when somebody says something that doesn't line up with my values in my earshot, and simply say, hey, don't do that. Don't say that. That's rude. Why would you do that? Please don't. Thank you. Any of the mistakes in my life or the things that have gone wrong for me happened because I didn't listen to the niggle, because I heard it, that little voice in my head, or felt it in my gut, manifested as anxiety, manifested as discomfort. It showed up in my life as lateness, not being able to follow through, being out of integrity. Being out of integrity sucks. There's a lot of conversation these days about integrity. That person doesn't have integrity, or that person has integrity. And I think if we can learn to live and breathe and embody integrity in ourselves, it's easy to have integrity in every other area in your life. But we're so often so focused on putting out a front, on being who we think we need to be, being who we were told we could be, should be, have to be, that we've lost that ability to be. And therefore we are out of integrity with ourselves. How can we be honest with anybody else if we can't first be honest with ourselves? So we're going to talk about living from that place where you know the niggle, hear the niggle, follow the niggle, anticipate situations that might trigger the niggle, and make different choices. Tell the truth. I love the quote by Muriel. Can never say her last name. Sorry, Muriel. I'll make sure there's a link to your quote in the comments, because I really believe in giving credit where credit is due. But her quote is this. She's wondering what would happen if one woman told the truth about her life. The world would split open. And the first time I heard that, I remember thinking to myself, well, yeah, if I told the truth about my life, things would definitely split open. Things would end. Relationships would be over. Sad, isn't it, that I didn't have the courage to speak my truth? I wasn't trying to lie to anybody. I was just a people pleaser who had been through enough things where telling the truth, my truth, the truth that was true for me, when I was uncomfortable, trying to say no in a relationship or in a business relationship or in a situation that made me feel uncomfortable, when I was mocked for it or put down for it or abused for it, wasn't safe. But when we begin to tell the truth, like our truth, the truth, in the moment, when someone says something that's inappropriate, when A woman who's clearly not done her self-work to be okay with men, puts down men. And I laugh at that. That's me not telling the truth. When a man says something inappropriate about his wife in my earshot, and I don't step up and say, hey, not cool, dude. Not cool. Not cool. That's me telling the truth. And what happened in the last year for sure, 2020, but certainly in the last couple of years, as I've calibrated and recalibrated, and maybe it's because I turned 35, but I think it started when I had my daughter when I was 30, I suddenly stopped caring so much what other people thought, what other people think. And suddenly all of those things that I had done to earn approval, trust, and respect, those people were talking about me behind my back. They were shaming me anyway from their own unhealed space. And you know what? Enough. Hurt people hurt people. I was a hurt person and I hurt people. I was toxic once. And if I was toxic to you and you're listening to this, I'm sorry. Truly. Ho'oponopono. So we're going to tell the truth here. I'm going to tell the truth about my life so that the world can split open, so that relationships that need to end will end, so that patterns of behavior might stop, so that we can be released to live and to be and to get out of this should culture that we're in right now. I should do this. I should look like that. I should do this. I should say that. I should have said this. Oh my God. Enough. Enough is enough. So here we're going to talk about trusting the niggle. I'm going to talk to courageous individuals who you can't live a life of vulnerability, thank you, Brene Brown, without courage. And I believe that. And in my bio, it talks about being brave and choosing brave. The world, the universe responds to brave. When you don't know if you can, but you know that you could, and you say yes, it's amazing what starts to happen. So we're going to talk about trusting the niggle. I'm going to talk about topics that maybe encourage you to finally find the courage to answer the niggle. For some of you, myself included, it's been so long since you trusted the niggle and listened to the niggle, you're going to have to go searching for it. But when it shows up, it's usually this gigantic wall that you run into. And then there's no other way for you to go or be or do because you're there and you know what you know and you can't unknow what now you know. We're going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth about my life. The people I interview are going to tell the truth about their lives. We're going to talk about uncomfortable truths. We're going to talk about things in the world that maybe divide us, because here's something I'm curious about. Can we agree to disagree? Can we think about that, please, for just a minute? Can we agree to disagree? Can my opinion, my thoughts, my truths, I arrived here because of the situations in my life, and this is what I've now choose to believe. And a belief is just something I've thought about, realized is true for me, and continue to think about it, so now it's truth for me. Can my beliefs, if they are different from your beliefs, can we discuss them in a civilized, kind manner? Can we agree to disagree and still function that way? Does my pain cancel out your pain? Does it have to? Do I have to be wrong for you to be right? Do you have to be wrong so I can be right? Why? Why? So this is something we talk about. We talk about telling the truth so that the world may split open. So that, just like Marianne Williams says in A Course in Miracles, it's not our darkness, right? I'm paraphrasing here, that we're afraid of. We're used to that. We're used to failing. Most of us have engineered our lives. I love that. Engineered our lives to be small, myself included, so that we don't get criticized or hurt or bothered or any of those things. We don't cause discomfort, because I know for me, when I've tried to rise before, that I've been dragged back down by well-meaning people who are worried that I might get hurt. Joy is the most vulnerable of emotions, especially when you share it. So I'm wondering, as we tell the truth, who else might be liberated to tell the truth in their own lives? And I don't mean tell the truth to someone else and tell them off, okay? Because I believe kindness is such an important thing in the world, and we have lost it. Why have we lost it in a world where we can be anything? Why cannot we be kind? Why can't we be kind? Ho'oponopono. So I'm wondering all of these things. I'm wondering what would happen as we tell the truth. So that's what you're going to hear on this podcast. You're going to hear me talk to some amazing guests. Some of the calls will likely be fairly heavy. Some of them will be lightly interesting. Some we will laugh, because I love to laugh. We're going to talk about subjects that are often taboo. We're going to talk about some things that need to be discussed. We're going to discuss them respectfully, but irreverently. I know. But I really want you to think. And so after you're done listening to my podcast or watching me on YouTube, I want you to walk away and be thinking, and maybe, just maybe, to tell the truth and trust the niggle. Because I don't think that the world needs more people who are trying to figure out what to do. We don't need more marketers. We don't need more content. We don't need more noise. We just need more people who are living on plan, on purpose, in their truth. Because when we do that, my subconscious meets your subconscious, and we recognize each other, and there's nothing to hide. And so that is living in integrity. That's living from the niggle. That's living trusting the niggle. That's living for you. It also doesn't let you off the hook, because it's been my experience that when you take radical responsibility for everything in your life, and I can speak to this because I have a sexual assault in my past. I have depression. I have anxiety. I have a divorce, which I'm still going through. There's some stuff I got to take responsibility for because I was toxic or unhealed, or I hadn't done the stuff yet. So you're going to encounter a very real me. And I do that because I think if I wear these mistakes, these challenges, these failures that I've made, like armor, I'm putting them out there. I'm putting them out there. I'd like to release the stigma, if it's at all possible, around some of these things and create some freedom for us to be. Just be. We're going to talk about feminine and masculine. We're going to talk about feminine balance. We're going to talk about tiny homes, because I live in one. We're going to talk about being a minimalist and how living smaller has allowed me to live bigger. We're going to talk about backcountry camping. We're going to talk about love. We're going to talk about grief. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about love. We're going to talk about kids and babies and marriage, divorce. We're going to talk about issues that are happening in the world. We're going to talk. So all of my podcasts are always unscripted. I'd rather learn about people, and you can watch me learn about them. Basically, you're going to watch me converse with some amazing people, and I'm going to hit record. That's it. And maybe, just maybe, you'll get some value out of this. And in the noise, because there's so much noise right now, there'll be value. So thank you so much for finding this channel, for tuning in to this podcast and listening with me today. Again, if you got value from this, just my intro, episode 0, like, love, comment, subscribe, so you don't miss anything else we're doing in the future. I'm excited for what we're doing. If you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, I'm always looking to connect with people who have a story they want to share. I'm always looking to hold space with people who are up to amazing things. I'm an advocate for the underdog. I've been the underdog. And after years of keeping my mouth shut and being the good little girl I needed to be, I'm now a woman on a mission to have conversations that matter, to have the courage to have conversations that matter. I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail often, fail forward, and fail fast. But I'm really excited that you're going to be coming on this journey with me. Thank you so much. We'll catch you on the flip side.